With each passing moment, the sky is acting stranger.
Yeah, because it's up in the sun.
Dropping secrets it has held for centuries.
Oh my God, what is that?
Strange shapes, eerie lights, and unexplainable objects are falling more often than ever. And each drop raises more questions. Let's uncover the mystery of the skies. Portugal's night sky turned into something unbelievable when a vivid green streak suddenly tore across the darkness. It wasn't a faint flash, it was bold, fast, and impossible to miss. People stopped in their tracks, some lifting their phones, others just frozen as the glowing meteor blazed past and disappeared. The strange part wasn't only its rare emerald color, but the sheer size and speed it carried. That night gave Portugal an unforgettable sight, one that still has people talking. Southeast fireball.
There wasn't enough going on. This sky appears to be following, at least literally, and we don't know exactly what's going on.
A quiet afternoon across Georgia and South Carolina suddenly became unforgettable. This glowing streak appeared through the clear sky, stealing everyone's attention. It wasn't the sound of a jet or the burst of fireworks. This was something far different. More than 100 witnesses described a blazing fireball darting overhead before vanishing completely. The American Meteor Society later confirmed it was a meteor slicing through Earth's atmosphere, but the intensity of the sight left many wondering if nature was the only force behind it. Unplanned flight. On June 30th, 2024, people in Gyeonggi County, Henan, watched a baffling scene unfold. A long cigar-shaped object rose into the air, trailing thick, dark smoke. At first, no one could tell what it was. Then, instead of soaring higher, it began losing altitude, crashing into nearby mountains moments later. Experts later explained it was the Tianlong 3 rocket, which had detached from its stand due to structural failure. The malfunction caused an unplanned liftoff and a very short, uncontrolled flight. Luckily, everyone on the ground was fine. Laser-like beam. A man filming a scenic rooftop view in Chile accidentally caught something no one expected. A sharp, bright beam suddenly cut through the sky and struck the yard of a nearby home. The moment was so sudden that even on video, it's hard to believe. While no serious damage was reported, the footage quickly spread online. Some claimed it was a precision strike from something beyond Earth, while others suggested an object from space breaking apart. Whatever it was, it left an unsettling mystery hanging in the air. Guided lights.
Along the beach, what I picked up. 8 pounds of stuff this morning. If you're telling me it's hazardous, don't touch it, what does that mean? The coral reefs that are in the ocean, and that stuff is sitting on it.
The calm skies over Turks and Caicos transformed into a strange display when bright lights began descending slowly, as if moving with intention. They didn't streak downward like meteors. Instead, they seemed controlled, almost deliberate. Onlookers tossed around ideas of advanced aircraft, secret technology, or something more mysterious. Later, the truth emerged that these glowing trails came from fragments of a massive rocket breaking apart in the atmosphere. Authorities warned locals to steer clear of any debris, as it could be hazardous to touch.
I heard the explosion. Something flew over my head, and it was a piece of the rock.
Strange lights. It started as just another night in Los Angeles, until the sky lit up with something strange. A tourist, casually filming the view, ended up catching several glowing shapes appearing overhead. They moved so fast, it almost looked like they were moments away from colliding with the ground.
Oh my God, what is that?
Their glow was so intense, it felt like something massive was dropping in from space itself. But before anyone could figure out what they were, the lights vanished without a trace. Whatever those objects were, they seemed in a hurry, and did not want to be discovered.
Oh my God, what is that?
Chicks falling. Roadside surprises aren't unusual, but this was on a whole other level. Drivers on the road slowed down in disbelief as tiny yellow chicks began floating down from the sky. They didn't tumble or panic. Instead, they landed neatly on their feet, almost like they were trained for it. Some guessed strong winds had carried them from somewhere far away, while others weren't convinced. The sight was so unusual that even after the last chick wandered off, no one could quite agree on how or why it happened. Field beam. At first glance, the clip looked like nothing more than a calm field, but then came the light. A sharp green beam slid across the ground in a straight line, like it was scanning for something hidden. The source wasn't visible in the frame, leaving viewers to wonder what was above. While some dismissed it as equipment or tech, others saw it as a possible message from somewhere beyond our planet. After all, if we try to send signals into space, who's to say someone isn't doing the same to us? Unknown objects.
That thing's like scanning us and uploading us. It's just hovering.
One quiet night in Virginia turned strange when two glowing red shapes appeared in the distance. At first, they could have been drones, but the longer they hovered, it became clear they were UFOs.
You sure, bro? That is a spaceship.
They floated in complete silence, as if observing from a distance, then slipped out of sight without a sound. Just like that, the sky was empty again. For the few minutes they were there, it felt like someone or something was watching.
Dude, I've never in my life seen anything do what it's doing.
Glowing craft. From an apartment window in Ukraine, a couple noticed a dim red glow hanging in the air. It wasn't flickering like a plane light. It was steady, almost watchful. Then, a beam of light dropped down toward the ground, paused, and retracted. Moments later, it happened again. The faint glow made it hard to notice from far away, almost like it was meant to blend in with the night. Whether it was a UFO, a drone, or something more unusual, the way it kept repeating the action left an unsettling question. Who was it watching? Blue light.
Oh my God, the cops are down there saying, go back to your house, bro.
Dallas nights are usually calm, but this one had people staring at the sky in disbelief. Above the city, a deep blue beam cut through the darkness, glowing from what seemed like an object floating high above. The light looked focused, almost like it was scanning the ground. A few locals said it might be an abduction, though nothing was reported. For a long stretch, the strange glow just lingered there, holding the city's attention, before fading without giving away what it really was.
The cops are down here saying we have to go back to our houses because they don't want us to film it.
Fiery shape. Early 2023 brought a jaw-dropping scene caught by a driver's camera, and it spread online almost instantly. A blazing triangular object tore across the skyline, trailing thick smoke. People swore it wasn't a plane, and it certainly wasn't a bird. It moved like it had a destination, nose-diving toward the horizon. For a brief moment, UFO theories took over the internet, but the answer wasn't otherworldly. It was part of a pyrotechnic stunt by the Bandits flight team at a football game. Still, even knowing the truth, the fiery descent didn't look any less intense. Sky spiders. One afternoon in a quiet Brazilian town, people glanced up and froze. Floating above were dozens of spiders, suspended on near invisible threads. It looked like the sky itself was letting them down gently into the streets. At first, it was pure confusion. No storm, no warning, just drifting clusters of legs and silk. Later, experts explained it as ballooning, a rare way spiders travel by catching the wind. That might be fascinating to scientists, but for those who stood underneath it, the scene felt less like biology and more like stepping into a surreal nightmare. streak over California.
It's getting the sun up there.
It started as a soft glow, then stretched into a sharp trail, tearing through the night above California. Phones came out instantly, filming the bright streak cutting across the sky. It wasn't zipping fast like a meteor, but it moved too quickly and smoothly to be a plane. Its shifting colors and shimmering edges
Yeah, because it's up in the sun.
made it look like something not from this world. The official story revealed the truth. It was a reused SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket sending satellites into orbit. Still, some think that the explanation fits just a little too perfectly. Dubai sighting. The Dubai skyline lit up one night with a sudden, blinding glow racing overhead. Wherever it passed, the light left a faint shimmer hanging in the air, like the sky itself was remembering it. Some thought it must have been a rocket test. The kind of thing you'd expect science to explain. Others weren't so convinced, claiming it felt deliberate, like an object moving with purpose, rather than just passing through. The glow eventually faded, but for many, the image stayed in their memory. Sparrow downfall. September 2021 brought an eerie scene to the skies of Bali. In the quiet village of Sema, hundreds of sparrows suddenly dropped from above, landing across a cemetery. Many were lifeless, creating a sight no one could prepare for. Rumors spread through the community. Some believed invisible, high-frequency signals from advanced aircraft might have triggered the fall. Amid the confusion, a local youth group stepped in. They gathered the small birds and laid them to rest together. A solemn act for a moment the village won't forget. Crimson cloud. In a small Chinese town last year, the sky put on a scene straight out of science fiction. A massive cloud took on an intense, glowing red, as if something enormous and strange was hiding inside. The light beamed from within, deepening the mystery. For many, it felt like a warning, or even a sign of something far beyond our world. The strange sight vanished as quickly as it appeared, but locals still talk about it. Because when a sky turns that color, you can't help but wonder if it's just the weather, or something else entirely. Unwelcome rain.
Living in the area say they have no idea where the drops are coming from.
Residents in Las Vegas woke up to a strange mess. Cars, rooftops, and windows were coated with a sticky, brownish-black liquid that seemed to have fallen from the sky overnight. At first, the talk was grim. Acid rain, toxic pollution, maybe even something hazardous. But the truth, while less harmful, was no less surprising. Experts confirmed it was bee droppings. Yes, bees. As odd as it sounded, it was harmless, though cleaning it off was another story. Just nature reminding everyone it has its own strange way of leaving a mark. Silent hedgerows.
Of an incident at Anglesey where numerous starling have been killed, and I mean many starlings. We don't know how it's happened.
On December 12, 2019, the hedgerows along Anglesey's rural roads were unusually still. One local woman slowed her car, thinking she saw birds feeding. But as she approached, her stomach dropped. The starlings weren't feeding. They were motionless. Dozens, maybe hundreds, lay scattered along the roadside. The scene was quiet, eerie, and without clear cause. Authorities were called immediately, collecting some of the birds for testing, whether it was poison or another force at play. The sudden fall of so many starlings remains one of the area's most unsettling mysteries.
There's approximately 225 dead starling on the road itself, and many others along the hedge on either side of the road. No starling apparent, no starling apparent in the fields on either side.
Strange rain. It was early May when the weather became strange in parts of Texas and Louisiana. The rain wasn't its usual clear. It shimmered with a bluish tint. Campers noticed puddles and tarps glowing under the light.
Texas, and it's been raining, and the water that's coming out of the sky is blue. And it's not this tarp, because it's happening on this tarp too. Look at that. This is crazy.
But the real surprise came when jelly-like, translucent blobs began falling with the rain. They landed on fields, rooftops, and car hoods, sticking to whatever they touched. These blobs didn't match anything familiar in nature. Soft, slippery, and strange. They left locals uneasy. It might have been just an odd weather quirk or the first sign of something much bigger. Geese grounded. One April morning in 2018, Idaho Falls residents stepped into a scene that didn't belong in everyday life. Dozens of geese were lying together in a parking lot, their flight cut short without warning. The sight was so unusual that people stopped in their tracks, unsure what they were looking at. Wildlife experts later traced the cause to a likely lightning strike, an invisible force from above that ended the flock's journey in an instant. It was a moment that left the town with more questions than answers. Lightning in grass. A farmer, sheltering from a sudden downpour, was gazing out when something strange began to ripple across the wet field. It wasn't rain bouncing off the ground. It was light, stretching in jagged streaks over the grass. For a few seconds, it glowed bright, almost like a flame dancing without heat. Then it vanished, leaving only a faint wisp of smoke. Some swore it was lightning striking from the earth upward, while others blamed stray electricity from nearby power lines. Whatever it was, it came and went before anyone could be certain. Trumpet cloud. In 2016, Jerusalem's sky carried a sight few could forget. High above the city, a perfect ring-shaped cloud lingered over the horizon, unmoving as if it were holding its place for a reason. What unsettled people most wasn't just the shape, it was the sound. Many claimed to hear deep, trumpet-like notes echoing from within the ring. The timing made it even stranger, appearing just after the funeral of Shimon Peres. Whether it was a rare weather pattern or something meant to be noticed, it became one of the city's most talked about mysteries. 2 surprises. A clip from Montana showed a bizarre sight, a vertical 3-part shape suspended in the clouds, unmoving. Online, the theories ranged from the serious to the absurd. But while people were still talking about that, an unrelated event unfolded across the ocean in Tagbilaran City, Philippines. A man had just parked his bike when a massive snake suddenly dropped from overhead wires, landing across several motorcycles. Startled onlookers scattered instantly. Later, experts explained that snakes often climb wires while hunting, but no amount of science could erase the shock for those who saw it fall. Smoke trail. From the ground, it looked like something straight from a sci-fi movie, a dark shape cutting across the clouds, leaving behind a thick, inky trail. The image stirred thoughts of secret aircraft or strange aerial visitors. In reality, it was a plane flying unusually high, and instead of the familiar white vapor line, it released black smoke, making it look far more ominous than it was. Even knowing the truth, the scene left an imprint in people's minds. Proof that sometimes reality can look stranger than fiction. Horizon split. October 4th, 2024 began like any other day in Mexico, until the sky painted a different picture. As the sun lowered, a single vertical beam stretched from the horizon to the upper sky, as if someone had drawn a glowing line across it. The streak looked almost like a contrail, yet no aircraft was visible. People nearby debated its cause, some leaning toward human experiments, others convinced it was nature playing tricks. No matter the theory, the sight didn't fade from their minds. Strange ring. Camping under the night sky often comes with surprises, but this one was far from ordinary. A lone bright light began to shift and expand, slowly forming a giant glowing ring. It spun in silence, its edges made of light rather than matter. Surrounding it, hues of green and blue shimmered softly, giving the scene an otherworldly feel. Then, just as quietly as it appeared, the ring drifted away and dissolved into the darkness, leaving only the memory of its silent presence. Light above waves. Evening calm washed over the beach until something high in the clouds broke the stillness. A narrow beam of light reaching down toward the sea. Following it upward, a witness saw a craft partially hidden in the haze. It was so well blended with the sky that it almost disappeared when still. After a while, the beam faded and the craft began to ascend, eventually vanishing into the clouds. Whether it was technology from Earth or somewhere else, the image stayed with him long after the shoreline grew quiet again. Vultures in Gulf. Out near Islamorada, Florida, a fishing trip took an unexpected turn. The captain noticed dozens of vultures floating oddly in the water, their wings spread, but unmoving. They weren't resting. They had fallen there. Those still alive were pulled onto the boat and cared for, but the reason for their fall remained unclear. Wildlife experts suggested weather could be to blame, yet others on board couldn't shake the feeling that something stranger was behind it. Out at sea, explanations aren't always easy to pin down. Unknown object. Outside a busy shopping mall, people tilted their heads toward the clouds. Something was dropping fast, trailing smoke in a way that hinted at trouble. Curiosity froze them in place, but no alerts came from authorities. No warnings, no announcements. As it neared what looked like a landing point, for those who saw it, the question wasn't whether it happened, but what exactly they had just witnessed. Arizona fireball. It was 2019. From her rooftop in Tucson, Arizona, a woman noticed something unusual cutting through the night sky. It burned bright, almost like a fireball. As a scientist, she kept her cool and reasoned it could be a meteorite, but the sight refused to fit neatly into that box. The glow shifted in color, intensifying in a way meteors usually don't. Space debris was a possibility, yet the descent didn't match the familiar streaks she'd seen before. Whatever it was, it moved like it had its own set of rules. Sky ring.
Es que ve cómo se está abriendo eso.
In Peru, a man looked up to see an odd light gliding overhead. At first, it seemed like just another moving glow, but then came the baffling part, a distinct ring of light traveling ahead of it. No one could make sense of it.
Uy, no mames que si es un pinche UFO.
Could it have been something visiting from far beyond? Or was it simply one of nature's stranger moments? Whatever the case, the sight didn't feel like anything ordinary. It was the sort of scene that could make anyone question what might be out there, just beyond what we can see. Eden Project anomaly. On July 24th, 2017, the Eden Project in Cornwall, England, appeared calm and still, at least on the security camera feed. Then a faint, semi-transparent object drifted into view, releasing a beam of light as it descended. For a few seconds, the footage glitched, as though something had interrupted the recording. When the clip hit the internet, the theories came fast. Some pointed to a UFO, claiming the light beam was a telltale sign. Others argued it was a trick of the lens or sunlight reflecting at just the right angle. Yet the camera glitch lingered in the back of everyone's mind. Could interference be more than a coincidence? Rain of worms. In Liaoning, China, people glanced upward and couldn't believe what they were seeing. What looked like worms falling from the sky. Some ran for cover, unsure what was really happening. One idea was that these were actually catkins, the fuzzy spikes from poplar trees. Another was that strong winds had carried real worms high into the air, only for them to drop over the city. Investigators gathered samples to figure out the truth, but even with experts on the case, no one has been able to fully explain the strange rain that day. Cloud Walker. High above Mexico, something dark moved slowly across the sky. At first, it was just a shape against the clouds, until people realized it looked like a massive humanoid figure. It wasn't flying, it wasn't drifting, it seemed to be walking, as though the clouds themselves were solid ground. The figure resembled the kind of being you'd expect to find in ancient legends, mysterious, distant, and entirely out of place in the modern world. Was it a trick of the light, or could something be living up there, hidden in plain sight? Gold mystery. In Yakutsk, Siberia, an ordinary day near the airport turned into something straight out of a storybook. A passerby noticed strange, shiny shapes scattered along the runway. At first, they looked like bricks until the sunlight hit them, and the truth became obvious. They were gold bars. Moments earlier, a cargo plane had taken off when a door malfunction sent its precious cargo tumbling down. Officials rushed to secure the area, but by then, the tale of the gold rain had already escaped into the city, leaving everyone amazed at how a small mishap could lead to such an unbelievable scene. Mysterious orb. It started as a picture-perfect moment, a bright rainbow stretching across the evening sky. Then, a massive glowing sphere appeared right next to it. The orb spun slowly, as though it was turning a hidden key in the air, and it didn't seem to belong to the weather around it. People stared in disbelief. It wasn't part of the rainbow, nor a trick of the light. For several minutes, it hovered there calm but strange, before vanishing as suddenly as it appeared. The beauty of the scene couldn't hide the feeling that the sky had just revealed, then concealed, a secret. Flaming giant. Somewhere in the wide expanse of rural Russia, a camera caught sight of something extraordinary, an enormous object tearing across the sky, blazing with fiery light. Its trail lit up the air behind it, like burning threads unraveling in the wind. People who saw it couldn't decide what it was, a piece of space debris, a meteor, or something far less familiar. Its sheer size and brightness made it impossible to ignore, and just as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone, leaving only the memory and the question of whether it belonged to Earth at all. Birds in trouble.
A neighborhood on Bakersfield Street after people there reported birds falling from the sky.
On Bakersfield Street in Boston, a quiet afternoon took a strange turn when grackles began tumbling from the sky. Some appeared weak, others motionless, and neighbors could only watch in confusion. Officials from environmental and health departments arrived quickly, trying to work out what was happening. There were guesses. Maybe the birds had eaten something harmful, but no solid proof. Without clear answers, the unsettling scene stayed in everyone's minds, a reminder that sometimes nature behaves in ways we still can't fully explain. Strange sky. In Mexico, the afternoon sky suddenly shifted into something that didn't look natural at all. Dark, twisting cloud shapes hung overhead, forming patterns no one could explain. It felt eerie, like the atmosphere itself had changed for a moment. Residents who saw it knew it wasn't a usual weather display. It lingered briefly, then faded away, leaving only questions. No harm was done, but that unsettling sky stayed with those who witnessed it. Some even said it felt like watching a scene straight out of a science fiction story. Except this wasn't fiction. Mysterious figure. In Romania, 2014, storm clouds rolled in, and then something unexpected appeared. In the middle of the swirling sky, a figure took shape. What made people stop in their tracks was how it seemed to be connected to the lightning itself, almost guiding or channeling it. The form wasn't still. It moved, twisting as if locked in some unseen struggle. No one has been able to explain it since, whether it was just an extraordinary coincidence of light and clouds, or something more. That moment became one of the strangest sightings the region has ever seen. Feather cloud. Texas skies are known for their beauty, but one day, A local spotted something completely out of the ordinary. Floating high above was a shape so precise it could have been drawn. A perfect giant feather. Its details were sharp, every curve and strand clear against the blue background.
It's like a large feather in the sky above my house.
People who saw the photos debated whether it was a rare cloud formation or a sign with some hidden meaning. It felt intentional, like the sky had paused to send a quiet message only nature could deliver.
Look at that.
Angelic sighting. In Naga City, Philippines, churchgoers were leaving Mass when heads began to turn upward. Above them, the clouds had formed into the shape of a tall figure with arms open wide, glowing softly in the sunlight. The figure didn't drift away quickly. It stayed there, still and clear, as if waiting to be seen. Many felt it was a blessing, arriving at the perfect moment. Others just stood in awe at how perfect the formation looked, without being certain about what it was. Floating city.
Verify if the video is real or not, but we have seen things like this before.
In 2015, residents of China in places like Foshan and Jiangxi stopped in their tracks when they looked up. Hanging above the clouds was the outline of a city, tall towers, a skyline, all floating in the air. For many, it was too real to dismiss. Some were convinced it was a projection. Others thought it might be a glimpse of another world. Later, scientists explained it as a fata morgana, an optical illusion where light bends through layers of warm and cool air, carrying the image of something far away. But for those who stood there watching, it felt like the sky had briefly opened a portal to somewhere else. It's time for today's open discussion. Somewhere near Roswell, a piece of shaky footage began making the rounds online. In the clip, a massive cloud loomed overhead, but what unsettled viewers was bright, shifting lights that glowed, pulsed, and flickered from within it. The whole scene had an almost electric feel to it. People who saw the video couldn't agree on what they were looking at. A few connected it to the long history of unusual activity in Roswell, suggesting it might be linked to something hidden, or even something that fell from the sky. Whatever it was, the lights disappeared with the clouds, leaving only the footage and a lot of unanswered questions. What do you guys think about it? Comment below. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.